Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Tuesday, January 21st, and we have now seen the new president, President Trump of the United States, get inaugurated yesterday. And there's been a flurry of activity. To say this was a bull in a china shop would probably be an accurate assessment of what's going on. But in his first partial day in office, President Trump has signed a number of executive orders which are making a lot of changes. But from an economics perspective, I think we still have yet to see the changes that will affect the markets. So it's probably a positive if we look at it that he's coming in, he's trying to make changes, he wants to get back to common sense decision making. You're probably not going to agree with all of the choices that he makes, but he's getting to work quickly. He seems to have a strong team this time around in his administration already in place. He's not struggling to put people in place at the last minute or to find people for key roles. So we'll just have to wait and see how all of that plays out. But in terms of the markets, it seems to have a positive impact so far. I mean, there are certain decisions that are going to come out around tariffs and tax cuts and a number of other things that will ultimately impact the economy, but maybe not, certainly not immediately. There will be a lot of speculation as to how they will impact them and a lot of estimates or guesses made around that. But until we actually see the results, we're not going to know. And that's going to create a lot of volatility in the market. Markets are up this morning, as you can see, the three US indices in the green. And if we get back to the reality of numbers and companies reporting from the previous quarter, let's talk about a couple of the big ones that are on the table today. One of which is already up in the pre market because it's made its announcement, and that is Charles Schwab. And another announces after market close, which expectations are very high for, and that is Netflix. So if we take a look across the top, you can see that crude is off. Crude has fallen from the $80 range now down to um, 76. So there's a huge drop there in crude. If we move further across, we can see that the VIX is also down under 16, which is a first in, well, it came down significantly last week, but it hasn't been in that range for quite some time. You can see Costco on Friday had a great day. Friday being that I know today's Tuesday, but the markets were closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day yesterday. Lulu had an okay day. It's coming back a little bit. Walmart is still hovering in that low 90s range. Home Depot really didn't move at all. Looks like it's up again this morning. Healthcare, for the most part, had a good day on Friday, but is a bit of a mixed bag this morning. Humana was up, it's now down. HCA was up, it's still up. Move into transports. JB Hunt got hit hard with bad earnings last week. Might see a bit of a dead cat bounce on that if the overall market comes up. You could probably, if it does bounce, it might get up to 175. I think it's still priced correctly for the earnings that we saw. And if the market does pull back with, and this is the concern I have with the new administration, is we never know what we're going to get and really when we're going to get it. So there's less predictability with the new administration in place. Random social media tweets at all hours of the day doesn't build confidence in the market, and it can lead to significant swings. So my strategy from this point forward in the year is now shifted slightly to try to be much more conscious about going to cash more frequently so that I avoid massive downswings. And I'm going to start using stop losses, which I have hesitated to use in the past. Probably wrongly so. It's probably an area of trading that I can improve my trading on by implementing some stop losses on some of my positions. So I'm going to try a couple of new things this year. going into the year to try to maximize gains and avoid downside risk. That said, hey, if you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. So what we're seeing in oil today, we're seeing the oil itself, crude futures down, and that is causing some oil stocks to be down in the pre-market. But at the same time, we've got a number of them that are up in the pre-market. So it looks like with the whole concept of drill baby drill, which he stated yesterday in his inauguration speech, it looks like that's boding well right now for some of these North American drilling companies. Um, there are some concerns around tariffs with some of the Canadian drilling companies and how it might affect um, their sales and their market share into the US. But the US refiners seem to be doing pretty well today. Rolling down to tech, and tech is definitely the positive out of this. And it was interesting. A lot of different news media organizations commented on this, but the number of tech CEOs that were at the inauguration was probably, I'm thinking, significantly higher than usual. And a lot of them who weren't necessarily fans of or supporters of Trump in the past have now pivoted and have, we'll say, seen the light in that they, regardless of their ultimate beliefs, they are cozying up to President Trump so that they are on his good side and they don't suffer any ramifications from not being on that good side. So we'll see how that all plays out. But you saw some pretty big names at the inauguration yesterday. At the same time, we have the Davos Summit for Finance in Switzerland happening, and a lot of dignitaries, presidents, and uh, federal bank officials from around the world, as well as business CEOs and CFOs, are in Davos talking about the global economic situation. So, still waiting to hear more out of that. Bloomberg has a house there. They call it the Bloomberg House, but they have constant coverage out of Davos and will for the period this week that it's on. So, we'll be tied to that fairly closely to see what comes out of that. So, looking through our list of tech stocks here, we have mostly green on the screen, drawing your attention first down to Netflix. We can see that it's going to report later today. Here it is. It was up 15, $16 on Friday. It's up another $8, 7.5 this morning. Meta's catching a bit of a bid. Tesla is up $9 this morning on no news whatsoever, other than Trump mentioning that we're going to take people to Mars, which I thought was interesting, and increase space travel. So that must have been part of a return of a favor to Elon for the money that he's been giving Trump in his campaigns. We've got Google up this morning in attendance there from a CEO perspective yesterday, and TSM as well, up almost $3. And they coming off some great results last week. So, big tech results coming out next week. So, that's when a lot of the big tech names start reporting. But if we go down to financials, you can see SoFi up 38 cents in the pre-market, looking like it could actually get to $17 today, which is outstanding for SoFi. It's reporting coming up in the next, in 6 days. So next week, it'll be reporting. We have most of the big names up here. Goldman was up, now it's down. Interesting. Morgan Stanley was up and now it's down. MTB, which had bad results last week, they actually, sorry, they had good results, but it went down last week. It looks like it's making a bit of a comeback. JP Morgan up again right now. And then Charles Schwab. So Charles Schwab reported this morning. It is up almost 5.5% in the pre-market and jumps on an earnings beat as the brokerage raises 115 billion in new assets. So pretty good story for Charles Schwab. I think that stock is going to get to 85 probably by the end of this month, looking like it's going to get above 80, maybe 81 today. So have to keep an eye on that one as it jumps. And that's where we are today on the 21st. So lots going on, but try not to get caught up in too much of the political noise that's out there right now. Keep an eye on earnings and watch for those companies coming into earnings that you expect to have good earnings that take a bit of a dip. Maybe it's because the whole market pulls back. Maybe there's some specific news from the company. Maybe it's nothing at all and it just drops. Look at that as an opportunity to buy in before those earnings and then ride that earnings wave up if they come in and are positive. Good luck in your trades today. And if you're liking the videos again, please hit the like and